You're listening to Keenan Graves' Quickcast, a video game podcast with commentary designed to be finished in less than 20 minutes. This is the first of what we hope to be many episodes. This is actually something we've been trying to do for, I think, probably about 8 years now. So we're going to see how this goes and kind of relay some content to you guys in a new way that we don't normally do. Normally we're a video game blog. So kind of just to get introductions going, I'm Keen and my brother Grave here. Say hi, Grave.
Hi.
So our goal today is to kind of kick off this podcast talking about a little bit of our impressions of the Nintendo Switch, as well as Breath of the Wild. I think it's pretty timely. But first, just a kind of recap here. This podcast will be available on keenangrave.com, and where I'll transcribe it for us, and also available on SoundCloud and iTunes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the Nintendo Switch. Kind of what are your overall impressions, Grave?
Gosh. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I'm satisfied, I guess, for now, but it really did launch kind of bare bones. There's not a lot. The whole interface thing, it seems really bare. Like it's gonna have to, I think, take a lot of updates. It doesn't even have any like of the Miiverse, Miiverse compatibility or whatever. You know, like the 3DS has Miiverse. And
Are you talking about how like when like you create a Mii of your character and it
not
like integrates with other players kind of thing?
You've used Miiverse before. It's like it's almost like you can post messages and talk to other people and post screenshots.
So like for example in Zelda Wind Waker, which I just recently beat on the Wii U, you could like drop bottles in the water and those bottles could then be posted to the Miiverse where other players can
and
coordinate
like other
and
games
stuff.
too, like in like the Mario game when like you could see other people's Miiverse posts. You know, it's I guess it's their own little kind of like social network thing within the Nintendo systems, and it's on the website as well. They have a website for it too.
Well, do you think that they're going to try to incorporate some of the Miiverse into the new online platform that's coming, the basically the paid online version, kind of like Xbox Live for Nintendo?
I don't know. I don't know how their online's going to work. I've heard that, like, I don't know if it's friends list or matchmaking or what. There's some component that utilizes your phone, but apparently you don't need to use your phone, because I know people were kind of irritated when they heard that. But I mean, not to get too off track, but just I mean, everything feels very simple.
Well, I mean, not to. I mean, one of the nice things about this is that we can have different viewpoints. Do you think it's that it's pared down because it's intended to be a handheld device? I know that was actually one of your biggest pros of the game, is that it could be a mobile device before, or a true hybrid, more mobile than console.
I wouldn't think that would make it a hybrid, because it really does feel more like a mobile console than it does a home console. I think I said it felt like a mobile console, but with HDMI out.
That's what you did say. You did say mobile console with HDMI out.
When you put it in the dock, all it does is it can output things at a higher resolution, though that I'm pretty sure that affects the performance on things. There's nothing in the dock that makes it more powerful.
That makes sense. What about so the operating system is very, to me, similar to the 3DS, where it's tile based. I mean, even less than less than the Wii, I guess.
Because if you look at the 3DS, their whatever you want to call it, their home screen and all that, I guess it started out a lot simpler than it is now, but they did add stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure it started out, though, at least with like an internet browser. I'm not positive on that, but I'm pretty sure it did.
I think it did, very simple one.
And it also has, and then later on, it didn't. I don't think it started with Miiverse integration, but I believe they added that later on. So I mean, it's not like I don't think it can be added. I'm just curious that they seem to. I don't know. I just think that it feels like it came out sooner than it should have.
Well, one thing that I think a lot of people were criticizing was that it didn't have anything like Netflix or any of these other apps.
Even 3DS has Netflix.
But Netflix was added to 3DS later.
I guess I don't know the timetables on that because I mean I would never actually use Netflix on a 3DS.
Well, I mean, I would never use Netflix on a Switch, I guess, unless I was traveling or using this for something like that. But taking a step back, like one of the things that I personally criticize companies like Microsoft, or at least I definitely used to criticize them for, was the fact that their system was less of a gaming device and more of a multimedia. They were shooting for this, let's put our device and be in the living room of the everyday man, versus being more of the core gamer experience.
Nintendo tried to kind of go in that direction a little bit back with the Wii, and then even with the Wii U a little bit, like the Wii U TV, whatever it was, which they ended up scrapping and doing away with. I mean, so yeah, I guess from just a game playing standpoint, it's pretty just. I mean, it's a clean look.
I guess we could, but that's
simple. It's just really simple.
That's true. We could segue then into if it's just meant to be for games. What about the current game offering on the Switch? There's pretty much like
it's not great.
There's Just Dance. There's obviously
Zelda. I mean, I can't really speak to the quality of Just Dance. I'm sure some people love it, right? But I mean, because like they've made a bajillion of them.
Well, it's not for me.
But it's just not the kind of game that I play.
Okay, so. Then they have the gimmicky games like 1-2. What is it called? 1-2 Switch.
I think it's 1-2 Switch or
something
like that.
One of those 1-2 games where basically shows off the motion controls and the integration of the Switch with other Switches or Joy-Con.
Yeah, that's not something I'm interested in. So I remember seeing something interesting. Someone was actually able to play 1-2 Switch with like their blind spouse because it's mostly based on like audio.
Audio and vibration.
Yeah, there's audio cues and vibration cues, and so they were able to play like the majority of the stuff. There are some things they couldn't play because they were visual based, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of neat.
That's definitely very cool. I wouldn't knock it for that.
Yeah, but in general, it's just like I don't know. I mean, I haven't played it, because honestly, it doesn't look that great. It doesn't seem like from impressions that I've read that it is that great.
Okay, so
it's probably something that they should have made a pack in. Honestly,
I agree.
It's full price.
Kind of like a Wii Sports Resort kind of game pack in.
Wii Sports Resort was on its own.
Oh well.
Wii Sports.
Did Wii Sports
something. Was Wii Sports part of the Wii?
There was one definitely packaged at the game when it came with it.
It's I don't really remember.
But bottom line is that for us, we're obviously more of the core gamer. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, we're more core gamer than we are family friendly little kid gamers.
It actually launched in Japan. It launched with some pretty good stuff. Actually, we didn't get a lot of great stuff over here.
What's a couple examples of games that came out that we didn't get?
I'm trying to think. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure that they launched with Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2, like the combo game. Dragon Quest Heroes came out, I think, last year, and the year before that, and then Dragon Quest Heroes 2, and they're like the Musou games, like Dynasty Warriors style, like Hyrule Warriors, but it's called Dragon Quest Heroes, and so I don't even know if that's coming to the U.S., but I'm pretty sure it launched with that. It launched with there's another one. It's a Tetris game, but it's a combination Tetris game and some other puzzle game like Puyo Pop. I don't know how to say that. Puyo Pop Tetris.
Okay.
And that's actually coming to North America as well, but not until next month. I believe. But yeah, I mean, there's some other things too. I don't remember exactly, but they definitely had more options than we did. What's great is the system is. It's not region locked, so I mean you could import those games and play them.
That's cool.
You won't be able to understand anything
them.
if you don't know the Japanese. But actually, that's what's interesting. Is from that, I believe, that one game I just mentioned, that Puyo Pop Tetris. I think it's that one. It might be a different game, but anyway, when you put it in your Wii system, your system can detect. Since I guess it's a North America system, and if it has it plays like it uses the English dialogue.
That's
and
cool.
Apparently there was English dialogue on the cart, so people that imported that, they were able to do that. So I mean that's pretty cool. And I know that there's a way you can access the Japanese eShop. You have to make a separate account to do that. So I mean there are technically more things that you could play. But I definitely think that the in Japan they got a lot more stuff than we did at launch.
Okay, well, let's talk then. So, a couple of the games that are at least coming out in North America that I know of that I'm looking forward to next month in April is going to be Mario Kart.
I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, so far it seems like the stuff to look forward to. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but it's not new stuff so much. Like
Mario Kart, is Mario Kart like a redux or a redo of?
it's Mario Kart 8, the last one we had, but it's adding stuff.
And I honestly didn't play
I
much of
think
Mario
it
Kart 8.
has. I didn't play much either. I know that we got the downloadable content. There's like 2 of them, but like we just really didn't play much of it. But I think we didn't is because it lacked the classic battle mode, the balloon battle mode.
Yeah.
But they're bringing that back in this new one, which is really cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, and then there's games like way off in the future is the new Mario game. That's like holiday season, and then way off in the future is Stardew Valley, which is which is basically like Harvest Moon and Rune Factory, kind of spun in together into some newer modern
is it
game.
Rune Factory? Can you
Yes.
Can you fight in it?
Yeah, there's dungeon levels where you can go
Alright.
into a cave and go down like 100 plus levels and
I mean, I'm not.
upgrade your weapons and
And also, I mean, I'm just going off based off like I believe I've checked websites to see what kind of stuff's coming out. So I don't know if these are up to date release dates or not. But I think that next month, like on the 4th or somewhere around there, they're re-releasing Lego City Undercover.
No, that's
on
true.
Switch.
That one I actually never. It's crazy. I never.
Yeah, we bought
ended
it,
up
but
playing
we
Lego
never
City
ended up
Undercover.
playing it.
Well, I'm gonna
Which
play it
we
on
have
Switch.
a bad habit of doing. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing, because I'd like to play that game as well, and I always wanted to go back and play it, but then when I heard it was coming to Switch, I figured I'd wait. But then there's some good stuff on the eShop too right now. They have Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight.
I mean, it's the same Shovel Knight that you can get, almost anywhere else. But I mean, I like Shovel Knight. I had it on the Wii U. And so I've been playing that. That's a lot of fun. And just came out last Friday. They released The Binding of Isaac. You've heard of that?
I've heard of it. I've never played Binding of Isaac.
I've never played it either. I've just heard of it. It's like a roguelike, and apparently it's really good.
I see people play it all the time.
Really, like, creepy, gross theme kind of stuff. Like,
yeah.
But it's actually a lot of fun to play.
Okay, so there's games coming out in the future that we're at least interested in. So right now we often joke it's an expensive way to play Zelda.
I mean, yeah, that's what everybody jokes. It's
like
really
a Zelda.
expensive.
It's a Zelda machine, but
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. Segue here to talk about hardware. The actual hardware of the device. So, in general, I think it's pretty well made. I think it's well constructed. There's some critiques, whether or not you believe in the whole like the dock will scratch your screen thing. There's people are talking about like the penny test where you can slide the penny along the dock to see if your dock is bent.
Heard that.
It was on Reddit, and I did the penny test, and my dock was like a fraction of a millimeter bent, but it wasn't scratching my Switch. Although I don't pull the Switch in and out of the dock all that often. I actually tend to play more in docked mode just because there are no games that would prompt me to want to play on the go.
I mostly play in the portable mode. I only put it in the dock once and then took it out, and I didn't put it back in the dock until I got a screen protector.
Well, I also got screen protectors because bottom line, I'm worried about just scratching my machine, and if I'm going to ever take it on the go, I don't ever want that to be a concern, like anything scratching it. So I got screen protectors too. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description of this post, linking to them. They're just those, was it like ballistic glass 9
It's not
something
ballistic
strength.
glass. It's tempered glass.
Tempered glass,
I think
something like
they call
that.
it. I don't know. It doesn't feel like glass, but
Feels
it's
like plastic.
Plasticky kind of stuff.
Same kind of thing you'd put on like your iPhone.
Yeah. They have like the videos of you hitting it with the hammer and it doesn't break.
Yeah,
and
bull
stuff.
crap. You hit this with the hammer, it's gonna shatter.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, interesting thing, a kind of controversial point for me are the Joy-Con. I am actually not a fan of the Joy-Con, like almost at all. I think the Joy-Con feel really, really small in my hands, and they feel like a little flimsy to me. I think that the joystick feels flimsy, although I will point out that you made a statement that stuck with me that for a mobile device or a handheld device, it's actually the Joy-Con are actually the best option out there.
Yeah, I think so. If you look at the other products, like if you look at the DS has it doesn't have two joysticks. It has the circle pad on the left And then if you have the new DS, it has the little nub on the right, which I just think is a piece of crap. And I hate the circle pad stuff so much. It's awful. And then if you look at the Vita, it has these like tiny little joystick things that I feel like it's impossible to aim with. Like I remember trying to play games like Destiny, like in the off screen mode, like on the couch, and I couldn't aim and hit anything. That the sticks are just awful.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you compare it to other portable devices, the controls are actually not that bad at all.
And I'd agree with that. Compared to my 3DS, this is actually the best feeling. But however, I think it actually makes it worse when you detach them and you try to use the Joy-Con in the Joy-Con holder, or you try to use them just by themselves in one in each hand like a Wiimote.
I mean, I thought that at first. I wasn't a fan of how they felt. They felt kind of cheap, and I wasn't very satisfied. But I mean, I've used them a lot, and I use it. When they're charged, and the charge lasts a long time. I hold one in each hand. I just keep my hands relaxed to the side of me, and I don't know. They feel. They don't. I don't really think about how they feel anymore. So I mean, they feel pretty much fine.
I won't. I will say this, they're not terrible, but I think they're not great. And I will, to their credit though, I will make 2 points. Their motion capability is superb. I have zero complaints about motion control, and I usually have tons of complaints about it. And also their vibrations and the sensory, the additions in terms of sensory,
I
like
was
vibration.
expecting a lot with the vibration thing, just because of how they were like kind of talking about it so much. Like they were like it could like simulate like ice cubes in a cup.
Well,
type thing.
I believe that because I think a lot of the.
I mean, I don't know or not. I just didn't. I haven't felt anything other than just like some light vibrations. I haven't felt great use of it yet.
I think in I can't remember where I felt the vibration. It could have been just simply the system turning on, just that the vibration that it makes. Anyway, I think the vibration is great. The motion controls are great. I think there's potential there. But what I really wanted to talk about next is the Pro Controller, the insanely priced, like $70 Pro Controller.
It's not really insanely priced if you look at it. If you look at the price of a regular Xbox controller, or I think they're on the controller S or whatever, or if you look at
$70 though.
Yeah, but that's the Xbox controller is $60. And if you look at the price of the DualShock, it's usually like $60. I mean, yeah, you can get them on sale a lot of time for 40 or cheaper, but I mean, the usual price of these controllers, it's pretty in line. And if you look at what the controller is, it's a really nice feeling controller. It's the build quality on it. I like it a lot. It feels great. But not only that, it's got the nice rumble in it. It
does have good rumble
controls.
It does have motion control
And
amiibo
it has
support.
an NFC reader in it.
I can't figure out where the NFC reader is. I feel like I have to set my amiibo like flat on the top of the controller, like the center between the two sticks. I feel like I just have to somehow position the amiibo right in the middle.
I was confused on where to set it on the Joy-Con. Also, because they never really set.
No, they do. You have to set it on top of the right stick.
Yeah, it's on top of the right stick, which is weird.
Yeah, weird.
I thought it was initially that the screenshot button in the bottom left.
Right,
like
I thought so too.
I thought that was the NFC reader. I don't know why, but so I was really surprised when the NFC thing was inside the joystick.
Okay, so I think the Pro Controller's worth it. Do you think the Pro Controller's worth it? $70.
I think it's worth it. Definitely worth it. I think though that you'd be just fine without it too.
Agreed. I think it's going to come more into play when there's other games released, especially if you're playing with multiple people, because there's no possible way I could take a Joy-Con and use it like I could an old NES controller. It's just too small for the size of my hands.
It's so small.
Turning it sideways, I couldn't do it. So like when we
I haven't tried to do it. We should try to do it on something sometime.
Yeah, it's going to be awful, but I think using a Pro Controller and then the Joy-Con together in a Joy-Con dock will be great.
But I mean, in terms of like, I can see it being fun though in terms of portability and playing with someone on the go. And I mean, I've seen lots of different pictures people have posted playing their Switches in all sorts of different situations. Each person have a little Joy-Con. So I mean, that's neat. That's cool that you can do that. Because, I mean, I can't think of a portable console that's had multiplayer like that on the same system before.
No, that's going to be awesome. I'm excited for an actual multiplayer game. I can bring my system over. Okay.
Well, I mean, I want to stay on the hardware thing for a minute, though, because one thing that I'm extremely dissatisfied with is the the system charges from the bottom of the
Oh,
of
good
the
point.
Wii U.
Good point.
Not only is that just not incredibly comfortable when you're actually, if you want to play while it charges and you're holding it, because the cord kind of gets in the way, but you like there's the thing which they tout as tabletop mode
With the kickstand?
yeah, that's where like you pull the kickstand out and put it on the table, and then you can either play by yourself, or if you have a game where each person has a Joy-Con. But it is literally impossible to charge the system
And play it.
and play
In
it
handheld mode.
in this the tabletop mode.
Tabletop mode, yeah. Handheld, you just have an annoying cord coming out the bottom.
Yeah. So I mean, that I think honestly that is I don't even know how they let that get past. I mean, I can understand when you dock it, yeah, maybe the thing has to be on the bottom. But like the fact that there's no like extra port or something behind the kickstand when you pull it out, I
agree with that. Whatever the reason, to keep the cost down or to keep the size or to power, whatever the reason was, I think it was stupid. I would have happily paid a little bit more or gone with a little bit bigger console just to avoid the fact that it cannot charge in
yeah, I mean,
tabletop mode.
I guess, depending on your point of view, the easiest solution to that is that there's a third-party product. I don't know if it's officially licensed by Nintendo or what. I mean, they all say that, but it's made by Hori. It's I forget what it's called, like play stand or something. Basically, it's a piece of plastic that folds open and holds your system while it charges. We got you one. Did you open it yet?
Yeah, no, you're talking about the little stand.
It's great.
It's like a book dock where you would, like, if you're reading a book and you didn't want to have to hold a big book.
And it can adjust to different angles as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that, you really have to buy something like that just in order, for something that should be a basic function of the system is just really...
Yeah, it is interesting how much peripheral hardware there is for the Nintendo Switch compared to previous Nintendo products, where you could literally only buy Wiimotes. You couldn't buy an additional gamepad. You couldn't buy a lot of additional things for the consoles.
Well,
but this one is...
you couldn't buy an additional gamepad.
Couldn't buy anything. But it feels like the Switch is merchandised.
You might have been able to purchase one from Nintendo if like yours broke,
yeah.
But
yeah,
you couldn't like go to a store and buy another pad. And they talked about making games, 2-player games that could utilize 2 of those, but they never ended up doing it.
I think they quickly realized the Wii U was a dead end. Okay, for our first quick cast, we're already at 22 minutes here, but I want to get in some Breath of the Wild. So, overall impressions of Breath of the Wild. This is the latest Zelda game, available on both the Wii U and the Switch. We both have it on the Switch, and before I get to our impressions, just full disclosure, Grave has finished the game. I don't know what percentage you got, but
I don't know if there is there a percentage?
Well, there is a 100. People do say I 100%ed the game.
Well, they'll say that, then that's basically then they collected everything, did everything, got everything. Okay. I mean, no, I haven't done that. I figured if I even wanted to attempt to do something like that, I'd wait until the
DLC.
The DLC they're adding, like a hard mode or something.
Hard mode. I feel like the game's already hard.
Yeah, it is pretty difficult.
Okay, and for me, I'm about, if I had to gauge myself, I'd put myself at somewhere between 50 and 60% done with the game. I've beaten 2 of the Divine Beasts. I've done a ton of shrines. I've explored a lot of the map. But there's not going to be any spoilers, first off, so don't worry about that, guys. We just want to talk about a couple of points here. Overall impressions of the game. Keep this kind of broad, and then we're going to go in and talk about dungeons and equipment and the Zelda feeling. But overall impressions, what do you think?
I mean, when you first start out, it feels absolutely amazing.
I agree with that.
I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is like one of the coolest things I've ever played. But as the game progresses, I think, and I mean, this is probably a really unpopular opinion because the rest of the world seems to not have a problem. But I mean, as the game goes on, it shows how different it is from other Zelda games. And I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game, because it is. It isn't. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it, and I really enjoyed it. But I feel really disappointed by all the Zelda stuff that I feel was missing from it.
Okay, and I actually want to touch on that in two ways coming up here. But my overall impressions of the game, I agree with Grave. I think that from the moment you start up the game, it is amazing feeling. It's Yes, there's frame rate issues when the system is docked, and yes, there's weird issues. But those things aside, the game feels amazing. I feel like they nailed combat. I feel like the graphics are gorgeous graphics, stylized. I don't understand why it's kind of whitewashed. That washed out look, I don't think makes any sense whatsoever. I wish they would have taken that out and kept it more vibrant. But in general, the game feels great and controls great. I think we can segue to talk about some of those points you were making about it feeling Zelda enough. And a lot of that I think was lost in the fact that there are no traditional Zelda dungeons. There's no concept of going into a dungeon and finding the compass, finding the small key, finding the master key or boss key.
I mean, there are. Surprisingly, there are keys.
No, there's keys, but
they're part of the shrines.
Right. There's this idea of, but the idea of the classic dungeon where, like in Wind Waker, there was 5 or 6 dungeons. They don't exist. Like Twilight Princess, there was all the Zelda games. There's the Great Deku Tree. There's the, how they have the classic Zelda boss dungeons. Those aren't there. There aren't classic items, right? There's no. I mean, maybe this is a spoiler. Maybe it's not.
I mean, I don't see how it's a spoiler to tell
there's
you
no,
there's not something.
There's not your classic boomerang. There's not your classic hook shot. There's not your classic.
There are boomerangs, but
no, but there's not you're not finding the items in the dungeons.
I don't really think it's a spoiler to say that, like, for example, classic items that you would find in dungeons would be like the bow and the boomerang.
Yeah.
But in this game, there's no
concept
bow
of that
or boomerang. There are just lots of different bows and some boomerangs, and they're just like other weapons that you can find.
But you don't find them in dungeons.
You do not find them in dungeons. You can actually find a boomerang and a bow within like the first
5 minutes,
5-10 minutes of the game.
Well, gear is very much a and funny enough, like I praise this concept of gear in games in MMOs. I don't know that it works for Zelda, where the gear is just what's the word I'm looking for?
Item durability.
Well, item durability is basically the gear is just disposable. I guess that's where I'm going with. Things break within minutes of using them.
They break super fast and they can break super easily. I don't know. I didn't really have that big a problem because, I mean, I could always find stuff to fight with.
First off, it's never an issue. In fact, it's the opposite issue. You find too much stuff that you gotta get rid of it, but it's a little annoying to finally find a really cool sword and then have it break. I'm not joking. 2 minutes later of using it, this sword breaks and you've got to go on to your next sword.
Not to mention you lose durability accidentally doing anything. If you hit like a rock or...
It's gone, yeah. Accidentally surf on your shield's just toast. So item durability, I don't know where I fall on this. I thought it would be amazing and perfect for the game, and now I'm kind of like, it's neither here nor there. It's definitely not like oh my gosh, this is a selling point. It's also not, wow, this is going to make me quit the game. I just feel like there's times when it makes no sense at all, and there's times when it makes great sense.
Yeah. And did we finish discussing though about the items?
Well, no,
we talked about the bow and the boomerang, but
we're still on that topic.
Yeah, because I could talk about that forever. How there's no items like the hook shot, or I mean, depending on which game you're in, you can pick anything. And that's frustrating because it kind of adds like a Metroid element, like Metroidvania. That's what they call it. Kind of combination of Metroid and Castlevania, where you have to find a new upgrade, and that new upgrade is what allows you to explore new locations that you couldn't get to before. So like you need to get the hook shot because then the hook shot lets you explore.
It opens up parts of the game you couldn't get to.
But in this game, you can literally go anywhere you want.
Anytime.
At the very beginning of the game.
You can go to the last boss if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
It'd be a lot more difficult. And that's another thing that kind of frustrates me a little bit, is that you really don't need to do anything else. All it does is it makes the final confrontation a little bit,
by defeating the divine beasts.
They get their help. It's similar in concept to Majora's Mask when you do the dungeons and you see, I don't remember what they're called, those tall spirit guys. You've never played the game.
No, Majora's Mask is on my list.
They come out and they help. They help hold the moon up, but you need all 4 of them to do it. So this would be like Majora's Mask, except you don't have to do any of the dungeons. You don't need any of those guys to come help you in the end. All they basically do would help make it a little bit easier, and I don't know. I find that a little bit frustrating, and I'm frustrated over the lack of items because I feel like it makes the game feel samey over the entirety of it. There's nothing to look forward to.
That was actually going to be my biggest critique of the entire game. Is, well, first off, it sounds like we're knocking the game. We're not. This is Keen and Grave. We're always critical of everything.
I'm just bummed because if this is the new direction of Zelda, I'm just really sad.
I think this is going to be a spin-off direction of Zelda. But real quick, my point was going to be that I do feel like that is my biggest criticism. The game feels the same. From the moment you start to the moment you end, it feels amazing, but also it feels the same. So there's never any like, wow, I feel like my character development has significantly increased. I mean, yes, you get more hearts and stamina, but...
And you can get, like, new armor.
Sure, you get new armor
really
and...
I mean, there are some...
Very little, though.
That maybe give you a slight added effect. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but, the Zora armor does something.
Well, sure, it's like, that's no spoilers. There's different types of armors. Zora armor helps you swim type thing. But... there's no character development, but technically there isn't in any Zelda game other than finding items.
What I always thought was great, and it gave you something to look forward to. It's like, you're doing this next dungeon, and you're playing through the whole thing, and you're wondering, like you're seeing all these puzzles that you can't actually, do anything about because you haven't found a new item, and you're going through and you find a chest, and you're so excited. Oh, okay, it's a stupid map. And you're going through, and even more, and you're super excited. Oh, okay, it's a compass now. Then you finally get to that, awesome item that you've been waiting for, and it's, I don't know, I think it's super exciting. It's something to look forward to.
I agree,
because then it allows you to solve more puzzles.
I mean, like it changes the game when you unlock the bombs in Wind Waker. It completely changes the game.
But see, the bombs again, the bombs, the bow, the boomerang, they're all very
core parts of just a basic.
Well, the bomb and the bow are, because I mean there are puzzles that require the bow.
Yeah.
You don't ever need to use the boomerang for anything.
No, the boomerang doesn't. I pretend it doesn't exist because I've only ever used the boomerang once.
I mean,
and it's not a
There
boomerang.
are multiple different kinds of boomerangs. There's regular ones. There's
skeleton arms.
Yeah, I mean, like they're just, all they are is just a weapon that you can use.
Okay, so is the game, I guess where I'm going with, is it Zelda enough for you, or is it not Zelda enough? Does this feel like a Zelda game? I think you've already said no.
I mean, it feels like a Zelda game in the sense that, I mean, yeah, it's Link, and yeah, you've got the similar enemies, and the setting, from that kind of perspective, yeah, it feels like Zelda, though I'm kind of dissatisfied with the actual Zelda character, because she comes off as really annoying and really whiny, and she's kind of an a-hole, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if you...
No spoilers. I haven't unlocked a lot of those memories yet.
But like, if you...
two of the memories I've seen, she was a little bit kind of a diva.
I don't like her. I think that she's the worst Zelda I've ever seen.
Okay. Well, she's also like one of the first that truly speaks. Like...
Well, no, they all talk, but she's the first one that's voiced.
That's what I mean. Voiced. So now here's the next question. Is it Zelda enough? I would say sorta. Grave would probably say...
It feels like a Zelda spin-off. Like
okay, I agree with
Warriors, for example. This feels like... Yeah, it feels like Zelda, but it doesn't feel like a traditional Zelda game. It feels like...
a Zelda-themed RPG. Not even an RPG. A Zelda-themed...
Like a Zelda open-world game.
Okay, a Zelda-themed... Almost like a Skyrim?
I mean, in the smallest way possible.
Okay.
I mean, if you compare it to those games, there's this one has far less side quests and overall things to do compared to something like Skyrim or Witcher 3.
Okay, so I'd say overall, good game. Would you recommend it?
I would. It's a good game. I'd recommend it. It's a very different Zelda experience than what people are used to. The combat, I mean, it's the same, Z targeting that they've had ever since the Nintendo 64. It's similar, and there are a lot of cool different things you can do in combat, and there are a lot of cool different ways you can approach combat. You can, in creative ways too, you can, roll boulders on people. You can,
there's a lot of
drop
interaction
bombs from the sky.
There's a lot of interaction with the world, whereas I feel like that never ever existed in a previous Zelda game.
A lot of world reaction.
Zelda felt more platformer and less world interaction, world reaction than this feels. Breath of the Wild is very... It isn't like you're living in the world, but then at the same time it kind of feels like you are. There's lots of cooking and...
I mean, I will say that the attention to detail is pretty crazy.
It's high. No, I agree completely.
Bomb arrows, for example, they won't work in the rain because the fuse gets put out. and if it's way too hot outside, like if you're like near a volcano, they'll just explode if you try to use them. You can like light grass on fire,
And the
and
wildfire
it'll cause
spreads.
an updraft that you can then
Use with your
with
leaf, your
not
Deku leaf thing.
leaf. It's the glider thing.
Oh, that's what I meant. The leaf.
I
The leaf was from Wind Waker.
Yeah,
The glider,
leaf you
the
use
hang
for
glider.
this is just for the like if you want to use a boat or something.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's the attention to detail is just pretty crazy. I mean, like NPCs will give you different kind of dialogue depending on what you're wearing. Like a lot of people have probably seen it because it's been on places like Reddit. But there's like one NPC on a bridge, and if you like stand near the edge of the bridge, he tries to talk you down like
Oh,
suicide
I didn't even
style.
know that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's on
That's
the way
awesome.
to Kakariko Village.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I'm gonna go try that out.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of neat things like that, and I mean, I think that I mean, there are some areas that are really atmospheric, and I think it works really well. I mean, because I don't know, like you don't have like the Master Sword yet, so I won't
No spoilers on
spoil
any
or
of that.
anything. But there are a lot of areas that I think they did a really good job on.
So overall, I think we both would say it is a very good game. It's even
It's a very good
even a great game, I think. But in the end, it does miss some of the charm. And I'll say the word charm because I think it misses the charm of Zelda, and I think it departs from the Zelda formula. Some people will think that's a pro. I think it's kind of a con. Grave obviously thinks it's a con too. But overall, a good game, and I would say we both recommend it. Not that this is a review, but if you had to give it a score out of 10 for those listening who are on the fence of maybe this would be their decision to get a Switch, out of 10, what would you give Breath of the Wild?
It's difficult because like I really enjoyed it, but I mean honestly I feel kind of bitter a little bit about what it isn't. And so it's hard to really be objective.
Well, I think that's valid. So because of what it isn't, I give it a solid 8. Because I give it a lot of credit for what it is, and I give it credit for what it isn't.
Is it fair to judge something on what it isn't?
I have always defended the position that it is completely valid, because to make it what it wasn't was a conscious decision.
It didn't meet your expectations.
No, but think about it. It was a conscious decision the developers made to make it different from the formula that has been successful for over 20 years.
I mean, I don't know. I hate number things. Like the number scale is so stupid.
It is, but it helps put
games
context.
Never really go from like a 7, like it's like a 7 to 10 scale.
Yeah, it's a universal concept. They can.
I mean, honestly, I would just say, yeah, it's good.
It's good. So maybe like
It's
a
good.
7 to 8, somewhere in there.
I don't know. I don't want to get.
Okay,
I really don't wanna
Grave won't give it a score. I'll give it an 8.
I'd say it's good. I'd give it a thumbs up.
Okay, then we're gonna say 2 thumbs up. How about that? That's gonna be we've officially decided how Keenan Graves Quickcast is going to review games. Thumbs up.
We're stealing the Siskel and Ebert system.
Yeah, we're stealing it from him. We're gonna give it 2 thumbs up. Don't sue us, please. 2 thumbs up.
Did you say don't steal this?
No, I said don't sue us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
Steal this, please.
other places have different systems too, like a buy, rent, wait. You know.
Yeah.
or-
So we'll say this is a buy. This is a thumbs up. Switch. Okay, we're like 37 minutes. So the Switch in general, I say, is if someone in front of them, like my coworker said that he was at Target and the Nintendo rep walked in with Nintendo Switches in his hand,
Mhm.
and he was able to buy one. If you were faced with this scenario of a Nintendo rep walks in with a Switch and you can buy one on the spot and you don't have one yet, do you buy it?
Are you planning on keeping it or
Well,
reselling
no,
it?
keeping it. Idiots who resell it, I can't stand that. Would you say to somebody, buy it? It's worth it. Zelda's a great game to play now, and there's going to be great
honestly,
games.
it depends on the person. To someone like me, I'm like a diehard Nintendo fan.
Same.
So I'd say, yeah, buy it. You take it home. You buy a second one. Even you don't buy a second one. But I don't know. Depending on the person, for someone who may not be a Super Nintendo fan, or even a big Nintendo fan.
Yeah,
Super
no, we're
Nintendo
fans.
fan. I know, but I said Super Nintendo. But I don't know.
I would say,
I don't know if any console is ever worth buying for just one game.
that's a good point. I would say it's not worth buying for one game, except I did buy it for one game, and I also bought it because I want it for all the games coming out. But overall, I would say not rating it based on what it could have been, but it's a buy.
Yeah,
Thumbs
I'd
up,
say
it's a buy.
you could easily get over like 100 hours.
Out of Zelda, just by
Yeah.
itself right now. That alone, I think, pays for the price of
and
entertainment.
there's some other good stuff that's fun to play, and there's gonna be
more.
I imagine that around Christmas time this year, it's gonna be great because anyone that doesn't have one, because they're gonna have Zelda, I'm pretty sure Mario's coming out this year.
It is before the holiday.
I mean, they say it is, but you never know.
It looks completed to me, and in my opinion, they're just doing localization.
Yeah. So, and also, did you know that there's a Splatoon online?
Splatoon 2?
Yeah.
I know that there's Splatoon 2 is coming out soon.
There's an online test fire event on the 23rd.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I've already downloaded.
That's actually it's available for download?
Yeah, it was available for download like last week or something.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's going to be interesting because we love Splatoon.
We do love Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Let's just call it like Platoon, but Splatoon.
I mean, I'm excited about that. I hope that comes out soonish.
Okay.
I was really hoping though that they were going to launch with Skyrim.
No, that's going to be mid-year. That's going to be summer.
I mean, that's kind of silly. Skyrim's like how many years old that is to be excited about.
I think it's just more of a hype.
Portable Skyrim just sounds kind of fun.
Portable Skyrim. That's the key.
And I mean, I wasn't even a huge Skyrim fan. I mean, I probably treated Skyrim the same way I treated this.
Okay,
all I'm doing is talking about Morrowind and how.
No, that's a great way. That's actually a very great way to compare the game. This is the Skyrim of Elder Scrolls. It's not the now. I've never played Morrowind. I've watched you play hours of Morrowind, but it is Breath of the Wild is to Zelda what Skyrim is to Elder Scrolls.
And people love Skyrim.
And, I love Skyrim.
I like Skyrim too.
I give Skyrim an 8 to 10. I thought it was excellent.
Look at I don't know. I just even like gameplay wise, maybe Skyrim's better, but I just don't know. There's so much about Morrowind that you could do that they dumbed down and changed for future Elder Scrolls games. And of course, I'm saying all this, and then the people that played, Daggerfall, they're saying
same thing about Morrowind.
Morrowind's crap compared to Daggerfall. I mean, I wasn't old enough to play Daggerfall. I wanted to talk about how with Zelda, it's suffering from this same event that's happened with the past. Well, not the past two. It would be the Twilight Princess and this. They both came at the very end and beginning of console cycle, and I think they both suffered because of it. If you look at like how tacked on the motion controls were with Twilight Princess on Wii,
and Wii U, they made it a little better.
And they mirrored it.
It's true.
But looking at this is I think that in Breath of the Wild, I think the interface is bad.
Really?
And I think that it was based on using the Wii U gamepad.
Yes. No, I agree with that.
To
use the map.
To use the map. There's tiles to use the inventory quickly.
To use the camera to look around.
Yeah, I think that honestly, I think that they had a lot of. I mean, look at it. They have the Sheikah tablet. It was clearly intended to be, I think, heavily.
A year ago on Wii U is where I think this would have been.
And I think that when they decided to bring this to the Switch, and they realized that they wanted people to be able to play it very effectively, just on the go and without, like needing to look at the TV as well. I think that caused a lot of redesigns because there's zero use of the touchscreen.
Yeah.
Absolutely no use of the touchscreen at all. And I have to believe that's because
they intended it to
bring it to the Switch.
They intended it to come to the Switch.
And that's just something I wanted to touch on.
No, it's important. Okay. Well, we are at like past 40 minutes now in the podcast, so we're going to wrap this up. Again, the quick cast, the point of the quick cast moving forward, and who knows, maybe they won't be quick, but the whole point of the quick cast is to give you guys our snap commentary on video games, what's current, what's happening. We're going to be doing these every week, and we hope that this kind of augments and supplements the blog content that we have, and it's a great way to have Grave once again back in. And
there's just so much we could talk about, especially lately.
Yeah, and
like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh,
that's a big thing.
That'll be next episode.
Yeah.
All right. So, and we may do more episodes. We may do them more often than once a week. We may do half episodes, but we thank you for listening. Go ahead and please subscribe, follow the YouTube channel, like us on whatever you can like us on. Our goal is to put out just continually more content brought to you by gamers, designed for gamers. That's always been our way of doing things, and we hope that our perspective is a little unique. That's how we founded our blog, as two brothers with a unique perspective on gaming. So again, thank you for listening. I'm Keen.
I'm Grave.
And this is the Quick Cast.